Hi all, this is your trainer Lakshmi Sree. Welcome to the Business Analyst live introduction session. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great, thank you. So can I just have a brief introduction about your profile? The participants who have joined this call, could you please speak about yourself? Tell me what is your experience, or are you a fresher, or what is that you're expecting from this course? Ajay, could you please start?
Oh yeah, sure. I didn't know I was going first. Okay, so I've been working as a QA, as a quality assurance analyst with the New York State Department of Health. The company that I work for is Computer Science Corporation, CSC, but the project that we're working on is Obamacare for the New York State Department of Health. I've been working as a QA pretty much for a couple of years now, but I've been trying to transit and make my career working as a business analyst. So this is my attempt to move forward with that. And what I expect is some great quality of business analyst training, which I'm pretty sure that TechyBees offers,
Yeah.
and definitely help with the placement. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, so when you say you were a part of the quality assurance department, so were you involved in testing activities, or is that the core quality practices? So what is your day-to-day activity?
Well, I actually meant as a tester. So my day-to-day responsibilities could go from anywhere from writing test scripts to testing scenarios. So yeah, that's what I meant by QA is a tester.
A tester. Okay, so
Yep.
is this more into manual testing or automated testing as well?
Well, the funny thing is I was hired as an automated tester, but from my experience of the past 1 year that I've been working with the New York State Department of Health, I have been doing only manual testing.
Manual testing. So were you
Hmm.
involved in creating test scenarios and test cases for each of the activities?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We start off with a test plan, and then we create test cases, and then test scenarios. Yes.
Okay. And could you tell me what is your experience with documentation? Do you have any hands-on with documentation when it comes to creating the test plan and executing the test plan, etc.?
Yeah, I do have experience work, documentation, not as, obviously since I haven't worked as a business analyst, so I haven't have so much experience working on the BIDs or TSDs, but I have experience working on the test plans or
Mm-hmm.
writing any of the test plans and test cases. I've been worked as a QA lead before, so that's
Mm-hmm.
where the majority of my documentation experience came from.
Okay, that's really good to know. Thanks for that, Ajay.
Yeah, thank
Can
you.
we hear from Sajila?
Hi, Lakshmi. This is Sajila here. Lakshmi, I haven't been working in the software field but I did my master's in information technology. That
Okay.
was back in India.
Yeah.
And after that, I did my testing certification, the ISTQB1,
Okay.
and that also was from India itself.
Okay.
But then I was into the teaching field. I was as a computer science teacher and I was handling science subjects as well.
Okay.
So not much of an exposure to the software industry.
Okay.
Right now I'm working as a part-time teacher here in California
Okay.
and just looking for a change of, what do you say, a change. Yeah.
Okay, that's really good to know, Sajila. So we will be covering the basics of business analysis, what it actually means, and from the scratch, what is the software industry? What are the different departments that you would see when you actually work for a software industry, and where, as a business analyst, you would fit in, and who are the stakeholders or the different level of people within the organization with whom you would interact, etc. So I think attending this course will give you a very good idea of where you would stand when you join as a business analyst with any of the software industries. And of course, having your testing certification would be very helpful, and with Agile as well, having quality assurance experience would really
Mm-hmm.
help to flourish as a business analyst with a software firm, whichever software company you join, because a business analyst is not only expected to analyze the business and do the documentation, a business
Mm-hmm.
analyst is also required to be a part of the project management and quality assurance, primarily into the testing part of the software implementation. So
Okay.
having a testing knowledge is really going to help both of you, Ajay and Sajila. Thanks for
Okay.
that,
Thank you.
Sajila.
Thank you. Thank you, Lakshmi.
Yeah. Can I hear from Hitain?
Hi, Lakshmi. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you. Actually, this field is totally new for me. I have done masters in business administration from India, and
Okay.
then I went to Australia for the hospitality management, and I was a chef in one of the fastest growing company in Australia.
Okay.
And I just a couple of years ago, I just moved to United States, and right now I'm working in the Santander Bank as a teller.
Oh,
And yeah, I just heard from one of my friend. He's in the business analysis, and I was interested in the beginning when I moved in this country, but I didn't had enough chance to look up everything because as soon as I moved here in a couple of months, I got a job in the bank, so I got busy in my work and all the family life and all that. But now I'm just looking forward to build my career in IT, and this will be the best option for me to start with.
okay, that's really good to know, Hiten. So I think as a part of your banking experience, you should have a very good finance knowledge or the domain specific knowledge relating to finance, accounting, etc. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, this is really going to help you because you have already gained the domain knowledge, and you could very well apply the business analysis skill sets to your domain knowledge, and you could be a part of any of the software organization, or as a business analyst when you learn testing skill sets, or when you learn about the documentation skill sets, etc. You could very well move on to a business analyst role within your own organization where you have a very good hands-on with the finance domain.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, that's really good to know. Once again, welcome to the business analyst session. So about me, I'm Lakshmi Sree. So I hold about 12 to 13 years of experience, both industrial experience as well as training experience. I've handled several classes and for working professionals and students, etc. So I hold a degree in engineering and computer science information technology, and I've pursued my MBA in software project management and total quality management. And I also have a professional doctorate in management, primarily relating to analytics and some management subjects. So those with learning about some of the management subjects and a basic or a good knowledge about information technology and computer science, though not completely into a development role, would always get into a business analysis or a business analyst role. So which we will see in detail of, what you can expect as a business analyst, what would be your day-to-day activities or the roles and responsibilities that you would hold in an organization, and what are the skill sets that you have to gain. So I think some of you have already gone through the demo session videos, and you have a good idea about what would be the training curriculum that we will cover as a part of the business analyst program with TechyBees. So just a recap of what has been covered in the demo session for a few minutes, and later on we will move on to the topics that we have to target for today. Okay, so other than that, I think the counselor or the administrator of this training program would have guided you on how you could use the blog to see, various assignments that would get posted, case studies that I will be posting for you to work on and get hands on. and you will also have the webinar links posted on the blog for you to join the meeting, which I think you've already seen, and recorded sessions of the day-to-day or alternate day sessions that you would be attending. So you will have a recording of all the sessions that you attend, which you can play, and you can visit back the topics which we have learned, and you could get a better understanding of it if you would like to see it again. And then we also have the training materials which we have been posting, and we will have all type of templates and all the required materials that could help you become a very good business analyst, get good hands-on even before you take up a business analyst interview and successfully clear it to join a company as a business analyst. Okay, so what will we cover in the training curriculum here? We'll see uh, what business analysis is, what are the roles and responsibilities, competencies, software development lifecycle. So what is SDLC? What are the different SDLC methodologies? And we will see in detail about requirement management. A requirement management has several phases involved, and each of the phases would require a lot of documentation to be done and to be signed off by your stakeholder. So what are the different roles of from whom you can expect a project, and what are the different kinds of projects, that also we will see in detail. And then we will see about the unified modeling language. So there's something called as artifacts. Artifacts are nothing but the byproducts that are created during the software development life cycle. So all of these byproducts are referred to as artifacts. So what are those artifacts? It could be a use case diagram. It can be a simple flow chart that you can create in a BRD document, or it can be a user story that you write. So each of these smaller parts of your assessment or your analysis that goes in, starting from the day one of your interaction with your stakeholder. Hitin,
Yeah,
you
sorry, it was by mistake.
you want to
My
become
fault.
a present? I didn't understand. Is that by?
Sorry, it was by mistake. I hit the button by mistake.
Okay, okay, no problem at all. Let's continue. So these smaller products that we create, that you create during a software development life cycle are referred to as artifacts, and these would play a major role in determining each and every phase of a software development. So what are use cases and what are different types of diagrams that can be created, what is a data flow diagram, what is the ER diagram, that is entity relationship diagram, state chart diagram, activity diagram. There are so many diagrams that you can create during different phases of your documentation process. So that we will see in detail, and for your help or for your understanding, up to the time you get very good hands-on with documentation, where you clearly know, when you start with a blank Word document, what should be the first page, what should be the table of content, what should be a document control, what are the different fields to be included, and how do you start a document? Is that the introduction that comes first, objectives, scope, etc. So we'll give you a template in the form of a Word. So up to the time you understand what comes first and what should be the structure of the document, you can directly use this template. Could be for a business requirement specification, or for technical spec TSDs, or technical specification documents, or it could be a functional specification documents, etc. So with these templates, it would be easier for you to understand the structure in which the documentation should take place, or documentation process should be implemented, or how you create the document, and how you're going to maintain the document, because it is not a one phase document that you would create. There are going to be different type of changes that can come in within the document. And why are we expecting these changes? That's because of the agile methodology that is followed in the software industry. So we will clearly see what is agile methodology and what is Scrum, what is a sprint, what is a sprint log, how is a sprint log reviewed, etc. Okay. So as you all know, what is business analysis? Analyzing the business. Project team and what is the importance of a business analyst? We will see that, roles and responsibilities, and what are the skills required. So as you all know, we have a governing body for business analysis, and that's referred to as BABOK. So BABOK was started in March 2004 in Toronto. BABOK is a guide that helps the new business analyst or existing business analyst to follow the standards of the actual business analysis practice in a software industry. I'm underlining again, it is for a software industry. So business analyst is a term that is widely used in the industry these days. A business analyst could be from a software domain, or business analyst could also be from other verticals, namely a finance business analyst or a retail business analyst, healthcare business analyst, etc. So as a software business analyst, you would completely know what is the software development life cycle. To some extent, you will also know what is the project life cycle, and you would also know what is the software testing life cycle. So these are the three important terms that you should always remember as a business analyst working in the software domain or for a software industry, where your primary target or primary area of work would be around getting the requirement from your stakeholder or the end user, analyzing the requirement, working with different teams within your organization to create a design. The architecture again is divided into a solution architecturing and a technical architecturing, and then the core implementation, that is the development of the product, which the development software development team would take care of. But you have to liaise, you have to always interact with the software development team or the coders to see that the modules are developed on time and the correct requirement specifications have reached them for them to convert or translate the written requirement into a code. And then comes the testing phase, where as a business analyst you would play a very major role in different types of testing. Could be a user acceptance testing, creating test cases for user acceptance testing, or it could be a white box testing, black box testing, regression testing. There are different types of testing, manual testing of course, and automated testing that's carried out using test scripts written in Visual Basic scripts or Selenium kind of tools that is completely based on Java. So that is more technical. So we will see a complete overview of what are the different types of testings and how is that done, and what are the different tools that you would use to capture your test results, or how will you create a test scenario, test case, a bug report, a defect report, and how do you present it to the as an end result of your quality check of the software. So whenever you have a doubt about some of these standards, please make it a habit that you get back to the BABOK guide. We will give you a reference of the BABOK guide, so you can just do a find in the BABOK guide of the topic that you wish to look into, and you can see what is the actual standard that should be followed. So we will be, whatever is the topic that we cover as a part of this business analysis program, we will follow the standards as defined in the BABOK, be it the type of documentation or different methodologies in which we approach a particular phase of the business analysis process. Okay, so what is business analysis? Identifying the business needs, determine solution to business problems, determine solution for system developments. So as I already told you, there are different roles in the market: data analysis, analytics, business analytics, financial analysis, project management, quality assurance, documentation, and technical writing. So a business analyst would primarily target on IT improvement, process improvement, and business improvement. So ownership, a business analyst would get a very good exposure in the organization, starting from executive sponsor, C-level executives, project owner, business lead, IT lead, project manager, account director, developers, quality assurance, user trainer, architect, database analyst, data analyst, and business analyst. So what would be the roles and responsibilities? To interact with the stakeholder, get the requirements, analyze, communicate, and validate the requirements. All type of documentation required at different phases of a software development lifecycle should be created by the business analyst. A project management office, PMO, will not be responsible for creating requirement or technical or functional based documentation. A project management office will be only responsible to create project related documents and project charters. What are the different competencies required as a business analyst? Analytical thinking, problem solving, decision making skills, managerial skills, constructive criticism, behavioral characteristics, communication skills. The most important, you'll have to work on your communication skills, because both your verb spoken and your written language is a must. And as a business analyst, more than the hand-done tasks, your communication activities, be it on emails or directly contacting the stakeholder or other colleagues within your department to get the work done, etc., requires a very strong communication skill. So that is something you'll have to always improve. Interaction skills, emotional intelligence, negotiation skills, etc. So what will be the deliverables of a business analyst? A business analyst would primarily be a part of interacting with the stakeholder or the end user who gives the business. So it is not a new business. There are different types of different ways of getting a business from your stakeholder. One could be directly the stakeholder approaches the organization to give a project, or the organization approaches the stakeholder to say, already we have a system in place which we have developed for you, and there can be enhancements to the existing system. We will show you what is the as a system and what can be the proposed to be system. So thereby the organization is trying to get a business opportunity from the stakeholder. So a business analyst would play a major role in understanding the existing system and to come up with a proposed system or a to-be system. So what are the different types of documentations that business analysts should know or should prepare? One is a business requirement document, functional requirement document, technical requirement document, requirement traceability matrix, both during the requirement phase when a requirement document is created, matching the user given requirements with what has been created in the document, mapping those reference or the topic number from your document to a requirement which has been recorded is referred to as a requirement traceability matrix, which we will see in detail. And again, there is another type of requirement traceability matrix that is followed as a part of the testing activity, where the requirement will get mapped to each of the test cases within a test scenario. So in a test scenario, what are the number of test cases, and within a test case, how many requirements are covered? So that is again represented in a matrix format, and that is also referred to as a requirement traceability matrix. So we will see in detail what is a business process diagram, how to create workflow diagrams, user story, UML diagrams, RACI matrix. RACI refers to responsible, accountable, uh, in consulted and informed. So for a particular use case that you create, there should be a RACI matrix that defines the roles of each of the actors involved in the use case. So a easiest way of putting together all the use cases created in a document in the form of a matrix is referred to as a RACI matrix, to say, as a business analyst or as a developer, what are the responsibilities what is the developer responsible for, what is the developer accountable for, what is the developer, when is a developer consulted and when is a developer informed. So this is just a sample. So I will show you in detail a document that speaks about various use cases that is created for a domain specific task and how a RACI matrix is created. Next, we will see the software testing lifecycle in detail, how test plans are created and executed, and how the outcomes are recorded. So what are the tasks? So which we have already seen this. Let's move on. So software development lifecycle. What is software development? Why are we referring it to as a software development lifecycle? What are the different phases involved in a software development lifecycle? So always a software development starts with the planning phase. A planning phase is nothing but the business analyst will reach out to the stakeholder. Either the stakeholder approaches the company to give a project, or the company approaches the stakeholder to say, this is a new system that we would like to create based on the existing system. In both these scenarios, a business analyst will approach the stakeholder. Please give me a minute. Okay. So within the planning phase of the software development life cycle, what is that a business analyst will do? We will see this in detail, but just to give you an idea of what is the role of a business analyst in the planning phase. In the planning phase, a business analyst plays a major role in interacting with the stakeholder. A stakeholder would just say, I have an insurance system to be created that maintains the policy life cycle, or I would like to create a system that can record all the patients that visit the hospital. It would just be a one-liner problem statement that the stakeholder says, this is my requirement. So can you tell me, whether is it possible to create? So that's where the business analyst should start thinking, okay, this is the system that the stakeholder wants. What should I do next? It's just going to be a blank it's going to be a very one-liner statement that says, this is the requirement that I have, but from where should the business analyst start? So you see the role of a business analyst, because when you say, I have to create a system that can hold all the patient details, those who visit the hospital, it looks very simple, but the actual process is going to be too vast. There could be different departments, there can be a laboratory. So what are the various subdivisions that could come up with the system? So that's when a business analyst, either if he or she has the domain expertise relating to the healthcare domain, or it could be to the retail domain or a finance domain, so they would directly deal with the stakeholder to say, okay, can you give me additional details about what you are looking for? Okay, and many a times there's something called as request for quote, RFQs and RFPs. Okay, so a business analyst would be expected to know what is the RFQ and RFP. A request for quotation or request for quote is nothing but what is that the business analyst understands from the stakeholder, and what is a kind of a quotation that the company could offer to the stakeholder to say, this is the requirement that you have, and we assume, we think we can take it up. For sure, we can do it for you. But this is the pricing quotation that we would like to give you, and please let us know, what is your understanding. So that is again done with the help of a project management group in deciding, what should be the actual cost involved in getting the project from the client. So that goes at the initial talks. Next is the request for proposal. So what is the client or the stakeholder proposing? So what is that they want? the request for proposal means what is that they want, what is that they are looking for. So always, it could just be a one-liner at the beginning of a discussion to say, this is what I'm looking for, and can we please get this done. But remember, whatever you discuss with a client or a stakeholder or with any of them in the company, please have it documented. And the documentation should follow different standards. Okay, a BRD or a business requirement documentation could be a plain Word document with the proper table of content and different topics to be covered. But when you move on to other types of documentations, you would be expected, some of the clients might say, there is something called as the IEEE standard. So they would say, okay, please follow the IEEE standard on your documentation. Otherwise, they would say, follow the CMMI level of documentation process. Or they could say ISO level of documentation. So ISO is a very, very common term that is used to say, please follow the ISO with whatever is the set number, 27001, or it could be 9001. So there are different numbers in ISO, and the client could tell you that please follow this standard of documentation, or at times the stakeholder may not be aware of what the standard of a documentation is all about. If they are a fresh stakeholder starting off with their business and they want a product to be developed, it is your responsibility to uphold your organization's standards and capabilities in delivering the best software to your stakeholder to gain their confidence to have a continued business with them. So within the planning phase, there are a lot of activities that would take place, and by the time the business analyst comes to the requirement elicitation or a requirement gathering phase, it would have passed say 1 or 2 months or at least 1 quarter to say, yes, we are going ahead with this project and this is what is the agreement with the stakeholder, and we will start off. Okay, that's when it is referred to as the kickstart of the project. So when you kickstart a project, it means, okay, everything is agreed and let's start with the actual process. So once we reach the phase of a project getting started, the business analyst will start getting the requirements. A thorough requirement analysis or a thorough requirement gathering is initially done. So once a requirement gathering is done, next is the requirement analysis. Okay, so for requirement analysis, it is not just the business analyst who's going to be involved. For a requirement gathering, yes, the business analyst would be directly interacting with the stakeholder, and most of the time it is not the stakeholder company C-level executive who's going to deal with the business analyst to say, okay, this is the requirement that I have, unless and until it's a startup or a small organization. So they would have a point of contact. The stakeholder will have a point of contact in their company that would directly interact with the business analyst to give the requirement. The requirement that the business analyst gets from the point of contact of your stakeholder company may not be complete. So it is the responsibility of a business analyst to understand the business that has come his way, that has come to his company, and say, what are the type of questions that he can ask? What is needed to start that particular software or a product to be developed, or a process to be set, or a system to be created, etc. Okay, so all these are covered in the planning phase. Similarly, we have the analysis phase, design phase, implementation phase, testing and integration, and the maintenance phase. So we will see each of these in detail to understand who will be involved in each of these phases and what is the kind of activities that each of these people involved in each of these roles would play. This is about requirement analysis. So we have also seen some sample about the use case diagrams in the demo session, and then about the quality assurance or the testing practice. What is the difference between a project management and a business analyst group? And we've also seen that what are the tools that are required for a business analyst to have good hands-on with, and what are the additional tools that we would be helping with. So as a business analyst, you would be expected to have good hands-on with either MS Visio or Visual Paradigm. So both of these tools are very popular in the market to create artifacts. It could be a document or it could be use case diagram, user story. Most of the time, all of these, except for the use case diagram, all of the documentation and flow charting or data flow diagram, except most of these can be done on MS Word, and it is being used, created on MS Word. So other than that, as a business analyst, you should also have good hands-on with Excel to crunch the data that you could either get from your stakeholder or from domain specific or a production department of your organization or from a testing team, etc. So you, along with the MS Word skills, you also require very good Excel skills and PowerPoint skills for you to present your finding or understanding. So you would also require to know some basics of SQL, and we will also be teaching Tableau, basics of Tableau, of how you can import your Excel file into Tableau and how you can create good visualization and dashboards. And to use Tableau, you need to understand some basics of statistics, so that will also be covered. So when you learn Tableau and basics of statistics, one advantage is you can also be a part of the strategic planning management group, which many a times a business analyst within a software industry or any vertical or domain specific industry would always like to be in the strategic planning management group, because that is one way you can groom yourself and move up the ladder into the middle management or the top management group over a period of time. So resume preparation and interview preparation will give you a lot of interview questions. How do you answer those, and how do you manage to present yourself as a business analyst? What are the possible questions that can come up? What are the scenarios that they can give you? It is not just a plain question that the interviewer would ask you. They will give you a scenario and say, as a business analyst, how will you deal this? Right. So for that, we will have different case studies given to you for practice, which would surely help you perform well in your interview. And of course, to add some good skill sets on your resume that can help you market your resume and find a business analyst job at the earliest. Okay. Now to start with a new set of topics for today. So what is enterprise analysis? So along with the business analysis, the next most important thing is the enterprise analysis. Enterprise analysis, nothing but the company analysis. So first we'll have to understand and capture the business needs, and then look into the business architecture and prioritize things. So if you look at this, what is an enterprise analysis? So as a business analyst, you will also be expected to do the enterprise analysis or company analysis before you provide a solution to the business question. So enterprise analysis is defined as focusing on understanding the needs of the business as a whole, its strategic direction, and identifying initiatives that will allow a business to meet those strategic goals. Okay. So the role of enterprise analysis in the software development lifecycle, or to start with the requirement process. Primarily, you would define the business need. What is the need of the business during the project inception or the starting phase of the project? Next is assess the capability gaps. Capability analysis is a key part of enterprise analysis that is very much needed to say, what is the capability of the organization to meet that need. How capable is your organization to meet the need or the system request or the problem statement that you have received from a stakeholder? There are a lot of concepts involved in the capability gaps or the capability analysis. So when you see, creating a system is not just the software development activity. Sometimes many stakeholders would say, we do not want the end system to be deployed in our environment. We want it to be there in your environment forever, which means you have to look for a proper, if it is a web-based development or if it is a three-tier architectured product that is getting created, you'll have to see for a proper client-server architecture. And do you have the proper software infrastructure in terms of, having high-end servers or a mid-range server or a tower server etc., or a rack server, whatever is the need in terms of hardware or a software requirement or the infrastructure need, etc., that you have to analyze as a part of the capability analysis or capability gap finding. So it is not just a business analyst alone who does the capability analysis. A business analyst should approach different departments. A hardware and a networking department should be approached separately. A software asset group should be approached separately. Software development team should be approached to see, is the company having the required skill sets, employees or the developers with the required technology skill sets that can create the system that has been asked for. Okay. Other than that, we also have the ITIL or the infrastructure group that looks into the infrastructure of the IT infrastructure of the company. So if the client or your stakeholder says they want the system to be very much installed in your company, and they do not want it to be deployed on production in their system environment, what will you do? So end to end, everything is going to be with you throughout the time the stakeholder is going to stay with your company. So which means you'll have to see for forward of so many years, at least 4 to 5 years to begin with, what is that they are looking for, how well the system can be in place, do we have the required resources both from a technical front as well as the domain specific. They at times they would also say, let's have the entire production team in your company, one who uses the system to get the work done. Right. So at that time, it's a project management group that will pitch in to say, do we need any additional technical expertise to be added? Do we need additional domain expertise to be added? So all these are referred to as the capability of your organization to take up a requirement from your stakeholder and get it done successfully. Determine the solution approach and the solution scope. Okay, so what is the solution approach and what is the solution scope? Approach is different from a scope. What is the solution? Solution is nothing but finding whether a task given by your stakeholder can be done or not. What is a possible solution that you can give to the business need? But what is the solution scope? Defining a scope. Scope is nothing but whether it is feasible, whether it is possible, is it in scope or out of scope? There are a set of requirements which can be taken as in scope in different phases of software development. A product or a software that gets developed can have enhancements in the future with different versioning or change management, right? So we will have to define, the business analyst has to define of what can fit in within the first version release of a product or a software, and what needs to be pushed on to the next version or the enhancement version to the first version of this product that has been proposed. So understanding what is in scope and what is out of scope. So I have clearly mentioned here project scope, determine in scope and out of scope and define it thoroughly, because once you confirm to your stakeholder that the first release of the product or the software, generally a software is also referred to as a product. Okay, so a first version release of your product or a software will have only these many features. The additional features that you're looking for will be accommodated in the second version release, right? So when will the second version release development begin? When will the first version release go live to the production? Do we wait up to the time the first version is completely released to the production and only then the version 2 of the product development starts? No, we're not going to wait up to the end of development of the first version. So by the time the first version development of the software goes through the testing, quality check, implementation, the control, maintenance, etc., almost the second version of the software will be ready. So which means the business analyst will be playing a role in getting the things done for version 1 as well as continuing to create the version 2. right? So there wouldn't be a gap at all when you talk about, a time gap or a time frame between the release one of the software and the release two of the software. It wouldn't be a longer duration. So if there's going to be a very longer duration, it means the capability of the organization in doing things, multitasking things is not good. Right. So that is also very much noted by the stakeholder. The stakeholder is one who's going to fund, who's going to give the money. And your organization does everything for whatever is the income that they're going to get from your stakeholder. So always satisfying the stakeholder and keeping things on track and ahead of the time is what would be expected from both the business analysis as well as the project management group. Next is the requirement elicitation. So what is requirement elicitation? Elicitation means gathering, requirements gathering. So what will a business analyst do to gather the requirements? One is prepare, conduct, document, and confirm. So what are the various requirement gathering techniques? Brainstorming. First of all, the business analyst with other required people from his organization, one who can be involved from the starting phase of the project up to the end of the project, will be there with the business analyst. So say as a group of 5 to 6 people, or say around at least 2 to 3 of them will approach the stakeholder and they will brainstorm. What is brainstorming? Asking possible questions to get the complete understanding of what a stakeholder wants. A stakeholder will not make a note of all the details that they have to give to your company or to the business analyst whom they are giving the project to, right? So it is a responsibility of a business analyst to ask as many questions as possible. So how, excuse me. So how a business analyst will know what type of question to ask the stakeholder. So that mainly comes with experience. So I can tell you for a particular requirement that comes from a stakeholder, what are the different types of questions that you can ask from a business analyst point of view and from a project management point of view. Next is the document analysis, review existing documentation. If it is not for a new system that is being proposed, if it is for an existing system, then the business analyst should first go through the existing system documents, understand what the document speaks about, and then the business analyst will also sit with the production analyst, one who is using the system, and find out what are the glitches or what are the issues that are being faced in the existing system. So by doing that, the business analyst will again create another document to say this is the existing system. These are the issues that the production team is witnessing or facing on a day-to-day basis that is hindering the quality of work or the result that is getting rendered to the client. Okay. So that's when we have the business requirement document and the functional requirement document that gets created. Business requirement document is the first level of document that gets created by the business analyst after having say 2 to 3 sessions of discussion or a brainstorming or a workshop or interviewing session or a questionnaire session or a survey session. You can call it whatever you want. End of the requirement elicitation process, the main aim of the business analyst should be to get the requirements, get a complete understanding of what the system is, what the system that the stakeholder is asking for, and what are the kind of risks or what are the issues that can come up in implementing the requirement that is received from the stakeholder, and what are the existing systems that are already in place that can be used to implement the requirement that they've got, and what are the additional new things that should be uh, procured. Either it could be hardware or a software that's referred to as a procurement, or it could be the recruitment part, that involves with the proper expertise or the skill sets, bringing them on board on time, before the project starts, etc. So all these things have to be handled by the business analyst. So which means when it comes to the technical expertise, the business analyst may also deal with the HR department. They would business analysts will create a job description. A JD will be created to say, this is the requirement that we have, and please go ahead and open up a new recruitment request for this position. So that will also be the role of a business analyst. So by saying this, you can understand the kind of exposure that a business analyst would get in the organization. It is that hold or the control that the business analyst will get with different departments in the organization. Okay. So next is a business architecture. Some part of this we have already seen as in the enterprise analysis slide. So the business architecture is a set of documentation that defines an organization's current and future capabilities. Most important. So in future we will see what is solution architecturing, or who is a solution architect, what is technical architecturing, or who is a technical architect. But to begin with, a business architecture or a business architecting process is carried out by the business analyst. Okay, it is a set of documentation that defines an organization's current and future capabilities. Capabilities is a very, very vast term. So as I told you, it could begin from your human resource process to your the company's infrastructure, the space allotment, how many of them should be there in the department. Do we have so many workstations? Do we have so many systems? Do we have to procure additional systems, laptops or desktop systems for the production group? For the developer, what are the different softwares that are required? What are the different licenses that have to be procured by the IT asset group? What are the different physical objects that have to be procured? If it is a new workstation that is getting set for the project that is coming up, then what are the various items, or it could be a table, a chair, a computer table, or it can be the lockers, or data center space that is needed to place a new rack server, or within the data center, what are the different types of servers that have to be used, what are the different networking hubs that have to be created, any new hub that has to be created, etc. Lot of departments will be involved and say, what is the current capability of the organization and what is the future capability of the organization. So a business analyst will approach a network department to get to understand the network capabilities of the organization. IT asset group to understand the existing hardware and software status of the organization. Technical manager to understand, do we have the technical expertise to get this done. In of course, with the testing, when we look at the software testing life cycle, there are some typical testing types. It could be a performance testing, where we'll have to use tools, or there should be a live check of the application developed to see, if there are n number of users. The stakeholder may say, I might have 10,000 users who log into your website in one go. At any instance, in morning 10 o'clock when the trading starts, I'll have 10,000 users who log into your system. So what are the different types of test cases that you're going to write? What are the different types of testing that you're going to do with it? What is the test environment in which you're going to check? It's a different environment in which you do a manual testing and you do a performance testing. Right. So a performance testing or a load testing is to see, what is the stress that your application can withstand. So, if you test it with say 10, 20 users and you deploy it to the production or to your client location and say around 10,000, 20,000 users log in at once, the system is going to crash completely. So it's going to be a complete software failure. So a lot of processes will be defined when you're testing a product. Various areas of measuring the accuracy and the quality of the product which has been developed, and always the test result or a quality assurance output goes to the development. If there is a bug or a defect, it goes to the development, and then once the development or the code changes happen, it again comes back to the quality assurance or the testing group. The testing group not only checks the changes that have taken place, but they have to also do a regression testing, which means the existing functionalities have not stopped working just because some change is done to a particular functionality. So what is the time that is involved in performing a regression testing, which means perform the same set of test cases for each of the test scenarios and also check the new test case written for the functionality that has been changed. Right, so a lot of activities go on between the testing group or a quality assurance group and the development group, and then when it goes to production, again, not sure that production the software will work up as desired. There could be some initial glitches that the production team could face, and they will get back to you. So that should be a very quick fix, because once the product goes to production, the software gets installed to the production, there cannot be any issues. If there are issues, of course, it's a loss to the business. So end of it, if it is a critical thing, every escalation mail is going to hit the business analyst's mailbox, and he or she will stand responsible to say, why did this go wrong? Was this the understanding that you got when you listen to the requirement that the stakeholder gave? Right, so you'll have to be very, very alert in whatever things are spoken, what is written, what is understood. Most important, what is listened, what is understood, and what gets cascaded to different levels of the organization. So for which the business analyst should create the business architecture. The enterprise architecture comprises of the business architecture that defines the business processes, and then information architecture, application architecture, technology architecture, and IT security architecture. Security is now becoming a threat or becoming a most important aspect of any software that gets developed, because in finance industry, or it could be in retail industry, mainly with the finance industry, there is a possibility that the application gets hacked, the website gets hacked. So what are the different security norms that the organization is going to follow? Are they going to follow any cryptology algorithms in the back end to safeguard the data from hackers, etc.? So all those will be handled by the IT security or the cyber security group of your organization. What are the different terminologies? So you should have heard me speak about various terminologies or the end user names. What is a project? Who's a stakeholder? Business sponsor, external customer, or the end user? Internal teams, who's a developer, who's a tester, who's a project manager? What is a software development life cycle? Business and functional requirements. BAs are domain and technology specialists. So based on our discussion, you could have got a basic understanding of what these terms are. Who's a stakeholder? Who gives a project? What is a project? A project is an endeavor or a task undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. Any task that is undertaken to create a unique product, or it could be a service or a result, is referred to as a project. A product can be either a component of another item or an end item itself. We have seen what a capability is, and a result such as an outcome or a document. So what is going to be the end result of your project? It's either going to be the entire tool or the entire software or the product that is getting created, and various documents or the outcome of whatever product that has been created. So projects, two perspectives of it. One is a project management perspective, and other is a software development life cycle perspective. So now you should have got a basic idea of what is a software or a product, what is the meaning of developing a software or a product, and what is the life cycle of creating such a product or a software that is getting developed. So if you see in the project management, we have initiation, planning, execution, control and closure. In SDLC, we have the same set of steps that is followed, but there is a slight difference between a project management perspective and from a software development perspective. So when it comes to initiation in the project management, it means start a project. When it comes to initiation in the software development lifecycle, it means get the requirements from the stakeholder. Next, planning. Project management perspective, planning means plan for the project. What is the need for the project, how many teams are needed, how many resources are needed, how many systems are needed, how the project should be executed, when the project should start, what should be the complete, what are the various milestones that have to be met, what is the duration of the project, etc. All those are the planning. When it comes to software development life cycle, what is planning? Planning refers to how well the software can be developed, within how many months or years the product is going to be developed, what are the various requirement analysis and the design that should um, take place for the software to be developed, and what is the workflow. Next is the execution in the project management. It means executing the project, seeing that each of the project milestones or the set target in a project gets implemented by different departments on time. With software development, execution means the solution gets created, and then the technical specification for the requirement gets created, that gets cascaded to the development group, and how well the requirements are translated to code or to create a system, that is the execution. Next, in control with the project management. So what were the various stages in the project management life cycle that went wrong? What are the lessons learned? And how that can be controlled in the future, or what is the maintenance kind of an activity that you can give to that project? Here in the software development life cycle, control means what is the system that has been created, that has been implemented, already deployed, what are the various maintenance activities that can happen based on the service level agreements, and what are the existing issues with the system, and how can we enhance those in the next version release. So all these concepts would be involved in the control phase. Closure refers to closure of a project. Closure refers to closure of one particular version. If there's only one version, it's a complete closure of the system that is created and deployed. If there are multiple versions, then you will close each of the version releases. So that is the main difference between the project management life cycle and the software development life cycle. So what are the different types of projects? One is a new initiative, another is an ongoing effort, which we have already seen. So who's going to fund for a project? It could be a CapEx project. It's funded from the capital budget of the company. Typically long and multi-year projects, can be brand new application development projects. Large number of resources will be involved because CapEx is a huge pool of fund within the organization. So it's a capital money of the organization from which the funding happens for a project. So that's going to be a very big project with lot of milestones, many people involved from the project management office, and from the business analyst point of view, a business analyst will be there, a lead business analyst, a business analyst manager will be there, which we will see in the next slides. So another type of project is the OPEX project, which is the operational expenditure project funded from the operational budget. Shorter in duration, it could also be for RAD application development or a rapid application development. Smaller team size, and BAs also act as a project manager when the funding is from OPEX or from an operational point of view. So other than this, we also have in-house projects. Development work is done within the organization and not outsourced. So within a software that is getting created, excuse me, there can be a need for a component. It could be for an email trigger, or it could be for a 3D chart that should get displayed in the report. So for these smaller components that should be involved, that should be included in a product that is getting software that is getting developed, at times the smaller tasks are outsourced and at times the in-house development happens. So these components are at times referred to as third-party tools, or these are in-house developed components that can be customized for different projects. But these components cannot be generalized as a part of this project. Okay, so it has to be handled as a subset of this main project that is getting created, the main project that is getting implemented, or the software that is getting developed. So those kind of in-house component developments or smaller spare part development or a component development for the existing software to feed in, those are referred to as in-house projects, which will be separately funded. Vendor built projects, development and project implementation is done by a vendor like your XYZ company. You can have any major company names there. Okay, so these are vendor built projects. Some of the projects, either a sub part of the project or the entire project, one company would take, and if they feel that their capability is not good to do some part of that project or a software, that will get outsourced, and that becomes a vendor project or a vendor implemented component. Customizing OTSs. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can see, right? Okay, thank you. Okay, customizing OTSs, modifying a pre-built software to suit the business needs of the organization. Many companies these days have a software, a base software created. For example, within the analytics platform, they have a software in place. They will create a base software and they would market that. Say, this is the software that we have already created and it can do all these things for you. We can customize the software based on your business need. So it could be a generalized software for a predictive modeling within a finance department, within the finance domain. Or it could be a machine learning software that can help create algorithms to perform a particular task within a retail domain, right? So these days, companies have moved ahead to say, we have handled so many projects, we have done so many softwares these many years, starting 30, 40, 50, how many ever years. So we know what the stakeholder would need in this particular domain. So why getting the requirements from the scratch? Let us already, let us create a software base or, a product that can be customized to the end user or the stakeholder need. So what are the advantages of doing this? One, you're directly marketing your product to your stakeholder. You're showing them this is the capability of the product which we have created, which in turn speaks about the capability of your organization, including your IT asset, infrastructure, etc., etc. So that is the way to gain the confidence of the stakeholder, rather than showing him a plain slate and telling that, okay, we will do everything for you from the scratch. No. So we already have things in place. You can see it. This is the thing that we can offer, the service that we can offer, or the product that we can offer for you, and give your requirement and we will finish it within 2-3 months and we will deliver the product. So the stakeholder is going to be much happier, because if it is starting from the scratch, the product development is starting from the scratch, it's of course going to take not less than 9 months to 1 year time. So if the same thing is getting completed within 3 months, and if the product goes to the production and analyst starts using it, who's going to be benefited? The stakeholder is going to be benefited. They're going to make good money. Okay. Project can be dependent or independent. Independent project, for example, building a brand new house, that's an independent project. Dependent project, remodeling a kitchen or a living room, that's a dependent project. That's just a sample, we'll see in this. Okay, so what's the career path of a business analyst? You start as a business analyst, then you get promoted as a lead business analyst manager. And once you hit the business analyst manager phase, there are two paths in which your career can divide, or you can move into two different paths. One is a technical career path and another is a non-technical career path. So by the time you hit the business analyst manager position, you would have got all the expertise needed to either choose a technical career path or a non-technical career path. So it is up to you. You can decide what you want to do. Okay, if you want to get into the technical career path, you'll have to learn about business architecting. Business architect, then the next role will be a business architect manager and enterprise architect. But for all these, you would need a technical knowledge. So from a business analyst, by the time you progress to a business analyst manager, you would have interacted with so many people, you would have taken up so many projects. It at least takes 10 to 12 years for you to reach from a business analyst to a business analyst manager, right? So from 12 to 15 years, you will be in an architect position, and 15 to 20 years, you will be at a business architect manager, and then you move on to an enterprise architect level. So after say 20 years of your experience in the same business analysis field, you can decide what you want to do after your enterprise architect. You want to move into a management role, or you want to continue with your technical expertise, etc. The non-technical career path after a business analyst manager will be your project lead, where you will be completely handling the project. By then you would have got a very good hands-on with what a project is, what a project coordinator does, what a project next level is a project manager, and then your project management office, where you will be handling so many project managers and n number of projects that the project managers are handling. Process analysis, we will see this in detail. So as I told you, what are the various tools for BA? One is a Visio, visual paradigm. It's the easier way to create diagrams and different artifacts. Visual paradigm is my preferred tool, because within a few minutes you will have your artifact ready, be it your user story or a use case diagram, etc. Visio, of course, it is widely used across the industry. You can also try using Visio. It will be very much similar to your visual paradigm. MS Office, a must, at least Word, Excel and PowerPoint, and Outlook for your email conversations. Jira. Jira is primarily used for agile methodology, but you will get hands-on with Jira only when you be a part of the organization, because that is an entire workflow where a ticket gets raised and each of the issues in the agile development is handled. Balsamic is a tool that is used for wireframing or creating a look and feel of your user interface. So other than Balsamic, we also have a tool called Pencil. Confluence, Revisinator. So there are other tools, Revisionator, and there are other tools that are available in the market, but these are all license based and it is specific to the organization. So they will train you, it's a matter of 1 week or so for you to get hands-on with the tools where you enter your requirement details. But for now, you can directly learn it on Office. So whatever is the technical knowledge or the business analysis knowledge that you learn, it's absolutely fine, but each organization can have their own tools or inbuilt tools where they capture the requirements, how they capture the requirements, how it flows to a different department, etc., which they will give you training, in-house training, once you join the company. So as a business analyst, what is the kind of certification that you can do? Certification of Competency in Business Analysis, CCBA, that's offered by International Institute of Business Analysis, IIBA. So you can go for the certification. Next is Certified Business Analysis Professional, the most common certification program that most of the business analysts would do. That's CBAP. That also you can do it from IIBA. Professional in Business Analysis from Project Management Institute, PMI PBA. So this will be your base certification prior to getting your PMP certification. So in the career path, we have seen that a business analyst can also be groomed into or can move into project management role. So once you get your PMI PBA certificate from the PMI, the next level could be a direct PMP certification, that is a project management certification. So business analyst day at work, start at 8 a.m., finish at 5 p.m. First, to start with, organize and attend the daily stand-up call with the project team. 9 a.m., meet the stakeholders or users to understand the new business needs or enhancement to the existing business process. 11 a.m., review the newly suggested IT process, plan meetings to identify the requirements. 12 noon, meet the development team and business users to gather the functional details of the suggested process. 1 p.m., create requirements document to capture all the requirements discussed to illustrate and validate the requirements understanding. 2. Meet the development team to review the requirements captured and discuss about the possible design of graphical user interface or just the user interface of your, it could be a standalone application or it could be a website. 3 p.m. work with the testing team to see what is the test progress relating to a software to be delivered. 4 p.m. create MOM, minutes of the meeting, and circulate. For whatever the meetings that the business analyst attends on a daily basis, he has to create the minutes of the meeting and circulate. Plan for the next day, fill in the sprint log for bi-weekly scrum meeting follow-ups. 5 p.m. meet the management group to give an update about the ongoing project improvements along with the project manager and discuss about bottlenecks that has been identified. So you can see how busy a business analyst life is going to be starting from 8 to 5. Setting up priorities, most important thing from a business analyst perspective, so which we will see in detail. So to summarize today's session, we have seen what is business analysis, what is the role of a business analyst, what are the competencies that a business analyst should have, what is the software development life cycle. We have seen some basics about requirement elicitation or gathering process. We have seen what are the different types of documentation that a business analyst would use. What are the different byproducts or artifacts, right? What are the smaller components or the byproducts that get created by a business analyst, like a user story, use case diagrams, flow charts, organization diagrams, sequence diagrams, etc. So all these are artifacts. So how these are created, what are the tools that would be needed, what are the various tools that are required for a business analyst to get hands-on, and we have also seen some details about the project management and business analysis tasks and daily routine of a business analyst. So end of the session, I would like to give you an assignment just to get an understanding of your documentation skills. You can try doing it. Some part of it you may not able to do it. That's okay. We will cover that in detail. So one is create a Word document to capture requirements from a stakeholder. Choose a domain or vertical of your choice. Imagine the stakeholder is giving you a project. A simple project. You can imagine whatever you want. It could be a patient's detail or a retail request or a finance request, whatever you know. It could also be from the education domain. So whatever is your choice. What are the various questions you will ask the end user or the stakeholder? What is that you can think of for the domain that you choose? And then put that in a document, Word document. You can just create a 2 to 3 pager document. That should be more than enough. And I expect you to create a table of content. Yes, Alex, I will answer your questions. Please give me a minute. So I would expect you to add a table of content for that document if you're able to do it. Otherwise, we will see how that has to be done in the Word document. So it's open to the audience now. Do you have any questions that I can answer for you?
Hi, Lakshmi.
Hi, Sajila.
Sajila.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. What do you mean by table of contents?
Okay, table of contents means whatever is the topic that you add to a document. For example, please give me a minute. I can show you a sample document.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so here's a sample. Alex, I will answer your question. Please give me a minute. So here's a sample technical specification document. So we will give you all the templates in this format, be it a business requirement, technical specification, or a functional requirement document. So if you see here, we have something called as a table of content, which means whatever is the information that you fill in the document, starting from introduction, objective, scope, functionality, use case diagram, matrix, architecture, design, and the actual code. So this is, we also have a database schema, etc., which I will explain you, how these are created, etc. But whatever is the information that you put into the document, the heading, each of these heading should be shown in your table of contents. So the easiest way of navigating to different part of your document is using the table of contents. So here when you click on the control button and control key, and when you click on that particular heading, automatically the control, your mouse control or your cursor control moves to that particular heading, and you can read what you have written under that particular topic. For example, if the end user wants to see what is the functionality description that you've created, he would just use a control and click on that functionality and it directly takes him. This is a small template, so here navigation looks much easier. But imagine if it is a 300, 500 page document. Generally, your technical specification will go up to 200 to 300 pages. A business requirement document can go somewhere up to 100 to 150 pages. A functional requirement document can go up to say 100 to 150 pages. So navigating through each of the pages, you can't keep scrolling using your mouse. So the easiest way of navigating to different parts of your document is using the table of contents.
Okay, got it.
Okay, good.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Sajila. Next is Alex's question. Alex says, for some reason I hear you, but I can't hear myself when I'm speaking. I'm attending through phone. Can you check if you're mute? Can you release the mute button, Alex? By default, at times it gets muted. I see that your phone call is on mute. Yeah. Alex, can you speak now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you too. Okay, great. Please go ahead with it.
Okay, man. First of all, hi everybody. I'm really sorry I was kind of late to the class, and man, my question is to you. So I see, I was expecting a demonstration, and I see you guys already started and gone further, and I don't know. So when you're gonna put this video on the website that I could go back and study myself.
Okay, my understanding is you were looking for a demo. Is that correct?
No, not really. Actually, the caveat told me you guys, I mean, you are showing how to work with the demo. You not started, but I saw that this is the first class already. So you guys already started. I was expecting the demo, but
Okay, you were
you
looking
gone
for a live demo
kind
of
of.
how to create a document, how to create a diagram, etc.
Okay, yeah, I missed most of it, honestly. So I'm wondering just to keep up with you guys, with my classmates, and I greet them from here. And to keep up with those guys, I need to study. I'm kind of behind you guys, so I'm wondering when you guys gonna put the video, and I could, tonight. I guess I'm not gonna sleep and
Okay, we can start with that, but then I have to give some basics about the software development life cycle and other terminologies, because we also have participants who are not from the software background. So you have an idea of what the existing software industry is and what is a business analyst role, etc. So you might have felt some of these are theoretic, but it is all in the flow. We'll have to cover those topics even before I can show you how it goes into the document, how actual documentation takes place, and how the diagrams are created, etc. So we will have to take it step by step, because this is not a fast track session.
Okay. So to be able to do this homework and assignment thing, I guess I gotta study myself
Yes, please.
for this class.
You will have to do this, and when I meet you in the next session, I will have a sample document to say, how a requirement is captured and how that can be presented in a Word document. So we will see, how you have done it and how it has to be actually done. So that is the way you learn to get hands-on, or get a practice of how it should be actually done. And we will also circulate the template where you can start filling in the business requirement details or the functional requirement details.
Okay, I got it.
Hey,
And
Alex.
hello.
I'm sorry to interrupt you guys. Just want to let you know, Alex, that since this is the first session, and I remember you asked a question that when will this be available? If you want to catch up on this first session, this video will be available in the blog tomorrow. That's what Kavya told me. They're going to upload this whole video, the part that you actually missed in the beginning. It's going to be available for you tomorrow morning in the blog.
All right, perfect. Yes, that's what I was wondering, if I could make it, until the second session.
Okay, so if
Good.
you are late for the session, you will also have a recording of this complete session on the blog, so where you can download and take a look at what has been covered. You will have both the demo session as well as this live session. And we will start off with the actual hands-on or the practices starting from the next session onwards.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm all set.
You're welcome, Alex. Okay.
Guys, one more time.
Any questions?
Lakshmi, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know, you mentioned in the beginning that a business analyst is supposed to provide you with some sort of a solution. Now, I'm trying to understand what kind of a solution that a business analyst can provide, because from my understanding, it all comes down to client satisfaction. But can you give me an example? Because this is one of the questions that is raised in an interview almost every time. So they ask you, can you give an example of a time where you provided a solution? So can you give me an example more related towards the healthcare domain? To answer this question?
Okay. See, it could be a solution is not just the domain specific activity, or it is also a system specific or a process specific activity. For example, there could be a difficulty in identifying a solution uh, in getting a result from a particular lab. Say, MRI generally takes time. Okay, so when a patient comes to the hospital, the patient's information gets recorded, the patient visits the specialist. Okay, so that is a different workflow, and then the specialist suggests the patient to undergo MRI. So the patient undergoes MRI, but what is the process that takes place from the time the specialist suggests the patient to undergo MRI and the patient gets the MRI done and then visits the specialist? So there can be some system-based issues in capturing the information. So if, as a business analyst, if you really know the business or the domain completely, you can very clearly say that in the MRI scanning process, if there is an appointment given and that is going to take not less than 2 days, okay, so how are we capturing that in the system? So is the next appointment with the specialist also considering the time lag or the delay that is taking place from the day the patient gets the appointment to get the MRI done? So what is happening within that process? So you will look at that from a granular perspective, get into details of it and say, from a domain specific activity, this is the kind of a solution that I can propose, and from a system viewpoint, this is a kind of a solution that I can propose for whatever is the workflow that is happening from the patient to the specialist to MRI in charge accepts the specialist prescription, creates an entry for the MRI scan, gives an appointment to the patient agrees or disagrees to that appointment, and then patient asks for a different appointment, and then the next activity or the flow could be, is the patient coming there to the MRI scan center on time, in the given appointment fixed date and time. So if they are not coming up, then what is going to happen? Because the MRI scan is very critical, and appointment is given to a patient on a one-on-one basis, and there's going to be a loss of said a huge amount when the patient is not going to turn up on time. So there are a lot of solutions that you can, what lot of issues that can come up, and what are the possible solutions that you identify for that. So when it comes to system, it will be a workflow solution that you have to provide, because there are a lot of to and fro events that are taking place. Patient to specialist, specialist to MRI. MRI, are they accepting or not? There is an event there. Yes or no? Yes or no? So a solution comes into place when there are multiple events or activities that take place in one given scenario. So you can explain that to your interviewer.
Got it. Okay. And one more thing I wanted to ask you was, so for tomorrow's assignment that is due, do you want us to upload the document somewhere, or is this for us to keep?
Kavya, could you please answer this question? Can they upload the assignment documents on the blog, or? Kavya? Okay, I will get the counselor to answer this question to you.
Okay, that works. And what exactly, can you give me a little bit more example on what exactly do you want from the assignment, except for the tables of content? So table of
Okay,
content for something that goes in the BRD?
what I'm trying to assess is how well can you do the requirement gathering. So now, as a fresh mind, you do not know how to actually conduct a JAD session, or what is workshop that gets organized to get a requirement, etc. Nothing. From a business analyst point of view, or from a layman, you are starting as a business analyst. So with your basic knowledge about IT and whatever is the explanation I've given to you, I want to see what is the kind of a question that you will ask the stakeholder. So with that, I can understand what is the level of what is your understanding about this role, or how will you approach a stakeholder. There is a way in which you approach the stakeholder. It is not just like that, it is $1 million project that you're going to get from a stakeholder. Even a point of contact, though they are at an analyst or a developer or whatever level at a stakeholder, you have to treat them as a C executive of the stakeholder, because it is a matter of money, and you all know that's how the industry works these days. So stakeholder, if they're going to give money, of course, you're going to treat them with all due respect, right? So you must know what is the kind of a question that you approach the stakeholder. At times, I have faced stakeholders or the end users to whom I have asked initially when I started off my career as a business analyst. I would have asked some very simple questions, and they say, can you please get back to the documentation and see what it is? Why do you ask us these kind of questions? So it is not so easy. When you ask a question, don't expect a complete direct reply from your stakeholder. At times, it's your good fortune or your luck if they're going to answer all the questions, and you're going to have a very good cordial relationship, working relationship with your stakeholder. But most of the time, it's going to be they're going to be at an upper end, and not all your questions will be answered. So you must know which question to ask and what is a kind of an answer that you will get from them, and you should be prepared to ask another cross question to get your needs, right? So it is the people management as well, you understanding them, what is there in their mind. Directly you cannot, it is over a period of time that you interact with the stakeholder, you will understand, okay, is this going to be a smooth flow or not, should I ask this question or not, should I ask the simplest of the question, will they answer, or are they going to get annoyed. So that will come only by practice and when you meet a lot of people from the client end. Right. So, Ajay, already have been in the quality assurance group, and I'm not sure if any of you have had experience of directly dealing with the stakeholder or the client, one who is giving the requirement. So that is going to be, it's not going to be very easy. Because you have to, be it whatever the situation or whatever is the kind of a reply, how harsh or how soft you're going to get, all those things will not matter to your company. What they want is somehow get to understand what the requirement is. So you remember, your stakeholder is going to be there from the start of the project up to the end of the project. Even after deployment, he is going to be there with you. So how you speak to them, how you have that cordial relationship, that also matters. So you must know what is the type of a question that you can ask them. Don't ask the simplest question of, okay, do you think this data should get copied in Notepad? No one wants this kind of a question. Of course, they will say, yes, you put it wherever you want. You put it on Excel, you put it on, editor, or which text editor, or whatever it is. So we don't have to answer you these kind of questions. So my intention of giving you this task is to see what is the kind of a domain that you choose, and how will be your opening statement, or how will you ask, what will you ask your stakeholder. That is the first point. And the second point is, what how well can you put that on a document. Even before we see the standard process of creating the document, how well can you create a document at this stage, at the beginning stage of this training program. So these are the two important things that I would like to understand, to take things further with each one of
Okay, sure.
you. Okay, so we've come to an end to today's session. So next session, I hope to see you all with your assignment completed. Please come up with questions, whatever it is, even the simplest of all, please do ask me, get things clarified, because once you get placed, no one is going to be there behind you to help. Don't expect a lead business analyst to spoon feed, to teach you what it is, nothing. They will just tell there is a repository, go pick the template, or just see the existing document and start doing things on your own. That's all will happen. And that's the reality that I have faced. So whatever is the question you have, or whatever is the doubt that you get, while listening to the session, please go back to the session, listen to it again, see the demos, etc. Get it clarified now itself, because later on, once you're on floor, it's going to be very difficult to get into the learning phase. It's all the implementation that as a business analyst you will do. They say go do the document, immediately you'll have your template, download, start working on the document. So once you get ready to that level, then please apply for a job. Otherwise, it's going to be a very difficult time for you, in whichever company you apply. A business analyst will never be treated as a fresher. They are expected to know their tasks, their skill sets, and no one is going to spoon feed them. So each and every application usage, I will show it to you in detail, so that you, when you apply for a job or attend an interview or you get through, it would be much easier for you to start working from day one. It's going to be a smooth flow. Of course, there could be ups and downs first 1 month, getting used to the company, the process, their style of documentation, etc. But you should know some standards and basics, which no one is going to teach you then. Okay.
Sure. And I'm guessing the next session is tomorrow?
No, I think the next session we're going to have it on Monday in the evening.
Okay, because from what I was told, the session is going to be Monday to Friday every day.
No, there is a project closure that is happening tomorrow, so probably we will have it on Monday in the evening. And from Monday, it is going to be a complete 2-hour live session, 2 hours of live session, and full-fledged. We will start off with the actual process.
Sure. So there's no sessions until Monday now.
No.
Got it. And
Both
how
assignment
frequent?
and also some study material has been provided to you as a prerequisite. It would be good if you can go through some of the IP documents, or get a basic understanding about the software industry. Possible, it could be by discussing with your colleagues, or going through some basic blogs on Google, or looking at some document, etc. So that should really help you learn the business analysis concepts at the earliest. Because starting from
Absolutely.
Monday, every day you will have case studies and you will have assignments, right? So you have to get the speed with all that.
Got it. So I'm just trying to prepare myself. So every moving forward from Monday, next Monday, it's going to be every Monday to Friday. Every day it's going to
Every
be two
Monday
hour
to
session.
Friday. Yes, every Monday to Friday for the said number of hours. There's no difference with that.
Got it. Okay. Wonderful.
Okay, and the case studies and the assignments that you do will have, that will have a weightage in finalizing your certification and your placements, etc. So please take it serious and do it with your complete, understanding and your efforts. And we'll see, if it is not coming up properly, that's okay. We can get it corrected. But again, I want you to rework on things that are not correct so you get it right. Whatever is the certification and placement that happens, that has to be very perfect with me at least. Whatever you learn should be thorough. It is not, just like that you learn and you leave it. No, that's not going to happen.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay, I hope I have answered all your questions. There's only one query that I have to answer. Kavya, the administrator, will get back to you about where you have to save all your assignment works for review and for valuation. Okay?
Okay. Yeah. You don't have to get back to me until Monday. That's perfectly fine.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there are no more questions that I can answer, thank you all for attending the session, and I look forward to having more interesting topics in our forthcoming sessions.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Lakshmi.
you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day, good weekend. Bye all.
You too. Bye
Bye.
bye.